Assalamualaikum and good afternoon everyone. Welcome to the Department of Science and Technology Studies, STS Talks. I must mention that among our distinguished audience today are Dr. Amran Muhammad, former senior lecturer in the department, and Professor Muhammad Noor Long, if I'm not mistaken, one of the and today is the third installation of our STS Talks series for the year 2021. For newcomers, this is meant to be a monthly intellectual event where distinguished scholars are invited to give a talk on issues in science and technology studies from philosophical, historical, social, political, economic, and religious perspective. Well, my name is Dr. Carol Anam, a senior lecturer in philosophy. We are very delighted to have Dr. Siti Nurani Mohd Noor with us today, and it is my great pleasure to introduce her to you this afternoon. Siti Nurani was an associate professor of the Department of Science and Technology Studies and was head of the department for a total of 10 years. While in UM, she formulated, among others, courses such as moral and professional ethics, issues in bioethics, ethics, sociology and communication in SNT, and ethics and safety in SNT, and ethics and sustainability in STI. The last post in UM was as founding director of Center for Industrial Training and Initiation of Talent, or CITRA, where she managed student skills-based courses and coordinated university industry links for the enhancement of graduates' employability. Later during her career, she was invited by the Faculty of Science Dean of Lincoln University College to design the course Bioethics, Biosafety, and Biosecurity for the Medical Science program at LUC. She also studied for 3 semesters at LUC. She later took up the post of Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic at the Genovasi University College and contributed in the development of the institution in its primordial stage. She is grateful for her working experience in UM as HOD, as Kamu QMAC auditor, and MQA internal auditor, which proved useful in helping her work in the new university. She has a number of ethics publications to her name in relation to stem cell research, human cloning, ART and religion, and issues in gender identity disorder. She has produced in total 10 PhD graduates. She also ventured into new territories such as research in STEM education and gender equality, and issues affecting women in science, medicine, and engineering. Her networking with researchers in UKM and OUM produced a book and other articles on classification of knowledge in science and public understanding of science. Even though Dr. Siti specializes in professional ethics and bioethics, she has special interest in the sociology of scientific knowledge, i.e., how scientific discoveries are made and established. This being the main reason for the topic she has chosen to present this afternoon. So without further ado, please welcome Dr. Siti Nurani.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Anam, for the invitation. Thank you, Dr. Head Department, for his kind invitation to have me here back at the department after, I think, 5 years. Okay. All right. So I'm happy to be here. Hello, everyone. It's so good to have all of you, 25 people here listening in. All right. So the topic I've given is the world as we know it from science. Okay. I wanted the topic to be simple to attract more people. Okay. So we know that people do not like to listen about science now. Okay. So anyway, but 25 is a good number. Thank you so much. Okay. So maybe as science as we know it. Okay. I've given actually the abstract. Okay. Slide number 3. Okay, science, in particular the natural sciences, okay, is the representation of the real world. Okay, it is a body of knowledge produced empirically and objectively, professing value neutrality. That's why it is of interest to philosophers of science, historians of science, and now, recently, the sociologists of science, or the sociologists of scientific knowledge. I prefer it to be called the sociology of scientific knowledge, or SSK. All right, now, SSK, okay, attempts to examine the scientific community by matching the method of science. Scientists have got their own scientific method. All of us know that. They use empirical methods, okay, which they hope to be able to represent, okay, data and info regarding the real world. Okay, so SSK actually conducts real-time studies, and most often than not, most SSK studies seeks to show that the scientific world is not uniquely untouched by the social world. Okay, this talk will discuss the findings of such SSK studies. Okay, this I done by from my readings, and this is also a course which I have actually taken when I was in the University of New South Wales. So I was intrigued then. I'm still intrigued by SSK studies. I did try to apply a grant to do SSK research. If you all must know, not only in Malaysia are, sociologists or philosophers of science frustrated because we do not get big grants. The same thing in Australia too. Even the Australian government wants data. They want data before they can actually give you big grants. Okay, but the problem is if we sociologists were to join forces with the scientists, then it makes the study, and then there's a vested interest there, and we do not want that. Okay, we want to have a study which is impartial. So we can never collaborate with the scientists. Okay, all right. So our meeting today will be. I'm going to give some examples. Okay, 3 in particular regarding discoveries, phenomena, and inventions. Okay, taken from SSK literary works. So our meeting in the end will see that the closure of some scientific disputes take an interesting turn, whereby we will find that science is essentially dependent upon social, political, economic, and power structures. Okay, all right. With that, let's continue. Next slide. Okay, all right. Wait, before that, I'll just say this. We cannot not discuss the social context of science. Okay, because science is performed by humans like you and me. Okay, and the scientists in this room, okay, in our chat room. But the thing is, all academic scientists do not like anything social to be connected to their work. It doesn't matter. Okay, they have been, you call it, enculturated to that sort of world for years and years. So they have not seen anything social. In fact, what they do is try to erase human error. You know, right? When you first enter science labs, when you were in secondary school, your teacher will tell you, be caution, okay? Be careful about human error. Make sure your observations are not, has no error in it. To do this, you have to observe again and again, probably 3 times at least, or 10 times. And then you have to do random sampling. You cannot be selective in your selection of your samples, okay, your research samples. And that, okay, my dear everyone, this is the bread and butter of science experiment. Okay, so, okay, science proceeds from this systematic methodology, which I've already spoken about. Okay, it is about evidence searching. Okay, it is about evidence trying to strengthen the hypothesis or the theories that scientists already know. Okay, now. The sociology of scientific knowledge, SSK, maybe next slide number 5. Okay, the sociology SSK seeks to examine what Latour calls the making of science or science in action. Okay, I actually read Latour's work because I'm very impressed with his work. Okay, but I do also read critics on his work so that we get a balanced view of things. Okay, now the sociologists have become anthropologists who follow scientists around, enter laboratories, and actually record data in the form of the scientists' conversations. The scientists progress in publications, including Science Citation Index, okay, and probably Index Medicus, So academics, all academics, not only the scientists know that, know of this saying, publish or perish. So this gives some sort of competition to the scientist circle. And this is good actually for the progress of science or even for the progress of the academy. Okay, so we will be seeing 3 examples. You know, later you will see that besides, okay, the object in question, okay, the phenomena or the fact or artifact which they are investigating, you see that scientists actually negotiate and there is a choice that they make, and they have strategies, okay, they know when to move to a different discipline, okay, so as to investigate further. Then they have inner strengths, okay, in themselves. They are very hardworking people, but some are bold, okay, some are probably meek. It takes guts actually to progress, okay, to make up what the science that we know of today. So having said that, let's just say now that science is essentially cultural and not impartial as maybe the scientist professes it to be. Okay. All right. These are 3 examples. Okay, which I will give you. I hope in the end we can make sense of why I've chosen these 3 topics. Okay. First of all, we will look at the carom taxonomy on the cassowary bird. The carom are people staying in the highlands of New Guinea. Okay. And then next will be the discovery of the peptide structure of TRF, okay, in a lab in San Diego in the USA. And the last one is regarding the pasteurization of France. Everyone know pasteurized milk, right? Yes, I'm sure everyone knows. Okay, so well, Louis Pasteur actually did us a big favor. Okay, in Islam we will be said as wakaf. Okay, so dia dah wakaf susu pada kita. I mean, imagine. I mean, that's a lot. Okay, for mankind, millions and millions of years later. Okay, these are the references for the topics which I have chosen. All right. So despite that, there are critics from especially the scientists. Okay, there is a book by on higher superstition, the academic left. Next slide. Okay, so titled the higher superstition, the academic left. Okay, it's written by 2 scientists. One is a biologist, one is a mathematician, but they have turned to become philosophers of science. When they start criticizing, they are actually becoming philosophers. So that's something wonderful. Okay, to be able to dabble with the writings of sociologists of scientific knowledge, they will have to do some philosophy themselves. Okay, now they have accused Latour, for example, of this demystifying science. Okay, and probably being relativist, and then whereas scientists are realists who think that science is actually the true representation of the real world. Scientific theories and hypotheses are true representation of the real world. Okay, that is realist. Okay, just 1 second. Okay, and now next slide. Okay, let's begin with the cassowary bird. Everyone know cassowary bird or burung cassowary? Okay, kenal. Good, very good. Okay, so now the cassowaries, are they birds? I'm asking you, are they birds? For one thing, they do not have wings. Okay, they have vestigial wings, remnants of wings, and they have hairs instead of feathers. And they are bipedal, of course, 2 legs, and their legs are as strong as human legs, and they are very large creature. They are bigger than men. Okay, so for the carom, okay, what I've written on the slide is carom. Okay, K-A. What I've written on the slide is K-L-L-A-M. This is not to be confused with kalam, whatever that Dr. Amran is trying to research these days. Okay, but in the recent works regarding Karam, okay, the Karam people, it is being spelled as Kalam now. Okay, just to note, okay, everyone. So now, the Kalam people can hunt birds, but not the cassowary. Okay, this means that they do not consider cassowary as birds. Okay, let's look at this diagram, which I took from Barry Barnes. Okay, Barry Barnes. Okay, now the illustration on the top is the zoologist taxonomy. Okay, the science that we know today. Okay, and the ones below is the Karam taxonomy. Okay, devised by Karam. Okay, well, I imagine they actually classified the animal quite similar, okay, almost similar to what the scientists have done. Okay, okay, if you look carefully, you will see that the animals, the way the animals are placed in the taxonomy is 60%, okay? 60% close to what the zoologists have actually described. Okay, all right, but in trying to understand Bulmer, a person who was he was an ethnographer, okay, who actually followed the Karen people around. He spent several months, okay, studying them. Okay, so in so doing, he found that they have their own classification system whereby they had, okay, this is what Bulmer thought, that they had categorized the animals according to the probability of flying. Okay, the probability of flying. So those who fly, okay, will be lined up together with what we say birds. Okay, what we say birds. Okay, and those who do not fly, okay, will be grouped along together with the animals, okay, with four legs. Okay, and the carom has been lumped in the non-bird section, according to Bulmer. Okay, this is like, you know, somebody trying to understand what somebody of another religion, probably for example, say a Malay trying to understand what the Dutch is saying. Okay, so this is Bulmer's understanding, even though he tried to understand and learn the Kalam language. Okay, so you can see that there was a point, okay, there was a point whereby the cassowary, I mean, they were perplexed why the cassowary was being placed in the non-bird section. Okay, the Westerners are surprised. Are perplexed, are confused why. So they had to ask the Kalam people, why are the birds being placed in a special category? Okay, 1 second. Okay, so maybe let's have some storytelling now. Okay, let's see now. Wait 1 minute. Let me open up my storybook. Okay, okay. According to the Karen people, okay, there was a myth. There were a brother and sister who actually wandered into the woods, okay, and suddenly the sister fell into a trap. Okay, so the brother wanted to help the sister, so he went off to find some covering, okay, so that to shelter her, to keep her covered. So, but when he came back, she had turned into a cassowary. Okay, okay, but he went off to find some help. While he was away, some outsiders came and took her away, killed her, and ate her. Okay, okay. Friday afternoon, right? Let's listen to some mystical story. Okay, now. So the brother, what happened? The brother went off to kill the man and kept the sisters as his wives. Okay? According to Karam culture, this is the way to go. This is the way to begin the Karam family relationship system. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. So because of this, they regarded this animal as something more than a species in nature. Okay, this animal has actually given them the key to how they must order their cultural life. Okay, it's shown them how to behave towards their family, towards outsiders, how to eat and how to marry correctly. Okay, okay, let's look again. Okay, never mind, it's okay. I'm looking at the diagram again. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Okay, if you can zoom in, okay, unfortunately you can't. Okay, the carom is called Copti instead of cassowary. Okay, Copti, okay. And then it is being placed on the other side where the probability of flying is low. P is low, right? P is low. So it's being placed, okay, next to the animals, okay. So once the story has been told, Bulmer, okay, the anthropologist, okay, ethnographer, finds that it makes sense. Okay, it makes sense. So now we have to be starting to think about our own taxonomy, ours being the scientific taxonomy. What can we do about other knowledge systems? Okay, okay. What happens was that what we have now is institutionalized knowledge, okay, which cannot be changed. Okay, and what Bulma is saying is it restricts us from thinking outside the box. Okay, all right, now we are on slide number 11. Okay, slide number 11. Next one. Next slide. Okay, all right. So since the cassowary is regarded as cross cousins, okay, to kill a cassowary is like killing a man. Okay, that's how the cassowary is, okay, considered in Karam culture. Oh, hello, Dr. Ng. Dr. Ng just popped in. I can see him. Thanks for joining. Okay, now, so the Kalam generalization, okay? I mean, these are general statements regarding Kopti, okay? As situated in the taxonomy must be accepted. Okay, this is what Bulma is saying. It must be accepted because it seems reliable and compatible with their logical tendencies. Okay, there was a 60% match. Okay, so we have got to bow down to other cultures, okay, to be able to understand other cultures as well. We should not let science, okay, restrict us from thinking or from accepting other cultures' logical tendencies. Okay, all right. So it's the same thing with our generations about cassowary. In fact, Barry Barnes says that Bulmer should not be asking the question, why is the cassowary not a bird? Okay, Bulmer must be asking, why is the cassowary not yak, but why is it a Kopti? Okay, just the same as the British will ask why the cassowary is bird. Can you see two languages clash? Okay, okay. Maybe I did not explain that very well, but we are somewhere there. All right. So let's just look at slide number 14. Okay, number 14. Okay, these are some understanding of how we understand concepts. Okay, how do people learn to apply concepts? Okay, how do they learn to classify? Okay, learning usually takes place in the form of inputs of observation and experience, and almost always learning is assisted by a learned member of the community. Okay, your guru. Okay, your guru will be the one, or your parents will be the one to teach you things. Okay, and you learn. Okay, next slide. Okay, okay, this is okay. Let's just imagine. Okay, a newbie. Say a 7 or 8-year-old boy taken by his father to visit the zoo for the first time. Okay, once enter the zoo, he will see many animals, and the father will start naming one by one animals, and then and of course there'll be birds. Okay, so the boy could see that the birds has feathers and could fly, okay, and looks like a bird. Okay, has got structure in that. So as he was walking, suddenly he saw some birds on in water. Okay, and he asked the father, bird? The father said, no, duck. Okay, all right, so duck, so okay, all right, so he now understands, okay, the difference between the birds and ducks. Okay, so and as he was walking around, he saw more and more ducks. Okay, later he saw something that looked like a duck, that resembled like a duck. So he asked the question, duck. Okay, father say, no, that's a goose. Okay, so okay, goose, and then he went on to see more and more gooses. Okay, and suddenly he came upon a white colored goose. What do you think that is? Okay, father say, no, that's a swan. Okay, all right, so the learning actually takes place in the form of association. Okay, you associate something, an object, to the term using. Okay, and then you make generalizations. Okay, these are the beginning of concepts. Okay, say birds can fly, birds have feathers. So you, from generalizations, you can deduce it. Okay, and the next animal you see, it could be a bird if it can fly and if it has feathers. Okay, so okay, that's the path of understanding. From ostension, you go to generalization, concept making, and usually learning takes place in the form of a competent family member. Okay, so learning almost always, okay, occur in a social context. Okay, next slide. Okay, so agree everyone? Yes, you learn in the classroom where there is somebody, okay, telling you things. Okay, so once we learn something, okay, in a social context, it becomes accepted knowledge. Okay, okay, birds can fly, that is some kind of accepted knowledge. Okay, and the usage or the usage of the term, say bird, okay, it's a great, okay, collective, it's a great usage, you call it a great usage. Okay, and it is endorsed as distant, okay, from mere belief. Okay, the beliefs of the individual cannot be taken to be a great usage, but the belief, okay, of the agreed usage is the one taken to be real knowledge. Okay, so accepted or agreed knowledge now becomes institutionalized knowledge, just like science. All right, next slide. Okay, all right, so just now, okay, when the boy saw the white goose, okay, suddenly he went wrong. Okay, it was wrong, but he said no, that's a swan. So does that mean that he has to keep on learning and learning and know every name of every bird before he can actually define what the next, what is the creature is saying he's looking at? So there is there is a problem now with institutionalized knowledge. Okay, it creates a tension. Okay, in Kuhnian's term, Thomas Kuhn, Structure of Scientific Revolution, okay, it will be something like an anomaly. Okay, you have a set of observations that are very uniform. Okay, and then suddenly you come upon one which is different. Okay, so so there is a problem with institutionalized knowledge. Okay, all right. Okay, so the next, for in this example now, in the book Laboratory Life, the Construction of Scientific Facts, okay, you will see that how the next example about TRF, how institutionalized knowledge about TRF actually make it difficult to change it frustrates scientists actually. All right, so now, okay, so the event, okay, that we're going to be looking at is Science in Action. Okay, the actor is Gilman and Scully. These are human actors. I put the inverted commas human because there are more actors actually. Okay, for Bruno Elato and Steve Wilga, or wrong spelling there, Wilga. Okay, the actors also, the instruments, the equipment, the laboratories, okay, the scientific data, the science citation index, and the works of other scientists as well as social forces and grants are also actors. Because why are they called actors? Because they actually make that invention or that discovery work. Okay, the venue is the Salk Institute for Biological Studies in San Diego. Okay, he claims of the notion that facts are constructed by the community scientists, not constructed, invented. Constructed, it means that in the end, they have to kowtow, okay, or bow to the needs of the social actors. Okay, later, okay, Latour expanded his words in the textbook Science in Action. Okay, now Latour did not want to just interview the scientists after a scientific claim is made. Okay, okay, so okay, on the next slides, these are critics. These are critics by critics of Bruno Latour's work. Okay, Paul Gross and Norman Levitt are say respectively a biologist and also a mathematician. So they were saying that Bruno Latour is actually demystifying science, and they did not quite like that. Okay, now these are not the only critics. Okay, even the philosopher of science or historians of science also criticizing Bruno Latour's work. Okay, what Bruno Latour was doing was that he wanted to see how facts emerge in real time. He did not want to rely on the scientist statement. For example, even now, if there is some, about ivermectin, for example, Okay, our talk now is about, today everybody is engrossed about whether ivermectin can be used as a cure for COVID-19. So we do not want to be listening to the scientists telling them that ivermectin will be successful, okay, antidote for COVID-19. We actually want to look into the labs and see how they came out with the conclusion that ivermectin can actually be an antidote for COVID-19. So Latour wanted to watch the scientists work in situ. So he became a resident anthropologist for 2 years in Roger Gilman's laboratory, the physiologist Roger Gilman, at the Salk Institute for Biological Studies. Okay, this account of book was co-authored with a British author, which is Steve Woolgar. It was published in 1979. Now, the book, if you were to pick up the book and read it, okay, please pick up the book and read it. It's very interesting. So there is a mesh of social, political, and economic interactions. Okay, if there was a movie on it, I will want you to see it, but there's no movie. All right, next slide. Okay, let's look at this. Okay, okay, how TRF was discovered. Okay, TRF was how the peptide structure in TRF. Good, right? TRF is thyrotropin releasing factor. Okay, so before 1962, there were many studies. Okay, many studies on TRF, and people are asking whether, is there a TRF? TRF comes from the pituitary gland of the hypothalamus. So it takes many thousands or millions of samples of rat hypothalamus, the rat brain, for them to be able to extract TRF. Okay, so they wanted to see if the TRF has got a peptide structure. So in 1962, someone, okay, maybe a small-time scientist, found that TRF is actually a peptide. But around 1966, okay, 1966, someone also found that TRF is a peptide. But another scientist came in and said that no, it's not a peptide. It's not a peptide. Okay. In January 1969 now, okay, somebody actually proved that TRF is a peptide and came up with several, conclusions regarding the structure. So it could consist of, histidine, proline, and glutenyl, okay, for his, pro, and glue, okay? Okay, if you don't mind, I would like to just say his, pro, and glue, okay? It's very tongue-tying to say the actual, name. Okay, now, okay, so so it is either later in April, okay, a few months later, it changed to this structure, and the next structure, and the next structure, and the next structure. You can see that, right? Okay, now, in November 1969, about a few months, 5 months later, TRF became pyroglutenyl histidyl prolinamide. Okay, okay, so that was the final structure. What happened was, okay, there were a lot of human interaction, negotiations, okay, at that time. Okay, next slide. Okay. All right. Okay, this is an interview. It is a transcript, okay, of one of the two scientists. If you must know, okay, the two scientists, Roger Gilman and Andrew Scully, okay, both were awarded the Nobel Prize for Physiology and Medicine in 1977. Okay, okay, all right. They were for the first time, okay, in history, the Nobel Prize was divided into two. Okay, one half to Roger Gilman, one half to Scully. Okay, for their discoveries concerning the peptide hormone production of brain. Okay, now, so, okay, between the two, Gilman and Scully, okay, Gilman was the bolder scientist. Okay, so this is a transcript of the interview of Scully. Okay, so Scully said, I don't see why we discussed that. In 1966, I got the structure, the peptide structure. Everyone agrees on that, and it's all written. So why did you doubt your own results? Okay, was the interviewer asked. I dropped the question. It was not of interest to me. My interest was in reproduction and control of growth hormones. And I didn't have a good chemist. It needs chemistry, analytical chemistry. So I gave it to him, but he was too busy. He had 5,001 things to do. He never came up with anything, and nothing was done for 2 to 3 years. So why did you conclude that TRF was not peptide? Because there was no activity, and we believe Gilman. Okay, so Scully stand up, pick up a copy of Gilman's paper and begins to quote from it. Okay, so that was the story. Next slide. Okay, so the interviewer asked again, why did you believe in Gilman's mistake? We never believed it. It was a very difficult thing. We found impure fractions. There was no activity. And Gilman came up with the idea of a non-peptidic structure. So we followed him. It's something that can always happen. Okay, it was shrugged off just like that. Okay, kesilapan. Okay, a gross error was done. Okay, because Scully did not want to study why there was no non-activity. Okay, so all right. So the year 1966. Okay, if you remember the progress of the TRF discovery. Okay, the year 1966 actually marked a period of the end of a period of hard and successful work and the beginning of 3 years of frustration from 1966 to 1969. There was intense competition between Gilman, not only Gilman and Scully, but many other scientists. Okay, now Gilman, he was a very well-known scientist. He had the backing of big grants. Okay, so he could build more and more sophisticated laboratories and also use more and more precise and expensive instruments. Okay, remember he was backed by big grants. Okay, many other groups, okay, working on the same structure, okay, actually dropped the project because, well, they cannot keep up with Gilman's stamina. Stamina meaning his resources. Okay, everyone dropped the research except Scully. Okay, and then Scully and Gilman came neck to neck with each other. Okay, the measure of acceptance can be seen in the scientific circle when, as can be seen from the number of citations they had. Okay, if you were to read the book, there was a graph showing that they were the same. Okay, they were the same. Okay, the peaks were the same. Okay, next. No, not next. Sorry. Okay, now. So no. Okay, stay. Okay, now. Okay, that's the slide. Good. Okay. Okay, now Latour's quotes. If Scully had not believed Gilman's hypothesis, he would have found the structure of TRF hormone in 1966. If he had not believed Gilman's hypothesis, okay, Scully might have concluded that a specific arrangement of the 3 amino acids, okay, was necessary to explain the lack of activity. I hope there's some physiologists here who can enlighten things for us later. Okay, so now, it's apparently the arrangement of the amino acids actually, okay, if it was arranged differently, actually, I mean, if the arrangement is actually shows whether an activity can occur or not. All right. So similarly, Gilman, if he had believed Scully, he would have found the structure in 1966 and not in 1969. Okay. If you want to read further of this drama, you can read that book down there. Okay. The Evolution of Theory in Science of the Mind. Okay. Quest for psychological reality. Okay. Psychology, so we have to start reading psychology now, actually, to be able to understand science. All right. Okay, now. Okay. I think our scientists should read, okay, this book written by Latour to truly appreciate the events or drama that unfold. Okay. Sorry, I had to use the word drama, but this is actually what is happening. Okay. Now, because observing science phenomena unfolding, you need to have money, you need to have equipment, you have to have allies, you have to have talent, and also you have to have guts. Okay, we could see that Scully lost his guts. All right. Now, Gilman was a physiologist, but he had some limitations. He did not know chemistry, whereas Scully actually had a chemist on his team. Okay, and he really worked hard. He was collecting millions and millions of fragments of hypothalamus to have enough hormones. He was really working hard. Some people say working harder than Gilman, but Gilman was actually enjoying his status and reputation. Okay, and then so it took about 41 journal articles over 10 years. Okay, and okay, to actually in the end confirm that TRF is a peptide. Okay, so after 1969, okay, TRF is institutionalized as a peptide already. Okay, and people are not interested anymore. You can see the graph dropping, the citations drop. Okay, now, all right. So what Bruno Latour was actually doing, he was actually mapping his works on the STRONG program by David Bloor. Okay, so whereby just like his science demands objectivity by eradicating human errors, SSK and STS, Science and Technology Studies, also insist on same application sociology. Okay, these are the 4 norms, okay, 4 rules regarding studies in SSK: causality, impartiality, symmetry, and reflexivity. I think all of us probably, especially students of STS and readers of philosophy, would have already known, okay, what all these terms mean. Okay, so C is examining conditions, psychological, socially, cultural, which brings on a knowledge claim. Okay, it's not only enough to limit yourselves to observations, the scientific particulars only. And then next will be impartiality. The same way scientists are doing work, they are being impartial when they sample stuff, when they make observations. The same way SSK, okay, researchers must also be impartial. Okay, they have to investigate the successful phenomenon, as well as the non-successful ones. Okay, now symmetry. Okay, there must be also the same explanation. Okay, same explanation for successful and non-successful knowledge claims. Okay. Okay, so and of course reflexivity, the way you are studying others, you also must open yourself in the same way to be studied back. Okay, if not, then SSK will refute his claim. Next slide. Okay, we come to our final story. Okay, we come to our final story regarding Louis Pasteur. Okay, Bruno Latour published, in this, of course, he did not live in Louis Pasteur's time and could not do any empirical studies, okay, but he studied, the social forces at work, and then how Pasteur in the end strategized his way through to make his theories become accepted, okay. In so doing, he began undermining the notion that the acceptance or the rejection of scientific theories is not a matter of experiment. He undermined that statement, okay, that the acceptance or rejection of theories are not only left to the method of experiment, evidence, or reason. Okay, next. All right. Okay, so everyone knows about Louis Pasteur, right? Everyone, you know, you always buy milk, okay, in those boxes, okay? It's written UHT. It's not written pasteurized now. What does UHT mean? Ultra high temperatures, okay? So Pasteur saw that when he subjected food at high temperatures between 60 to 100 degrees, okay, that could preserve the food better. Okay, he did that with beer, wine, milk, and the soap industry, okay? So, okay, to be able to do this, he needs to have the cooperation of the farmers, okay, who had sheep in the field, okay? So, and then what he did was he actually brought over his experiment from the lab, okay, to the public, okay? 1 second. All right. Okay, those so slide 29 is Pasteur's works. Okay, maybe let's proceed to the next slide on actor network theory. Okay, now, so you must know that, okay, we know Pasteur in history, okay? Pasteur had the backing of Napoleon, okay? Who was so probably the president, okay, or the prime minister at that time. So he had the backing of Napoleon. So he actually enjoyed that reputation because he was asked by Napoleon to solve the problem of an epidemic, okay, about animals getting diseases. Okay, so he was actually enlisted by the government to do that. So, but Pasteur was not successful all the way. Okay, his works was rejected by some cycles. Okay, because all right. So, but what he did was he had to persuade the farmers to let him go into the farms and actually conduct experiments. Okay, on the animals. So it needs a lot of negotiation. He had to do that, but in the end, he was backed actually by not only political forces, okay, but also research funders, legal and lay people. Okay, the farmers themselves was some were very skeptic about him entering the farms, but some were not. Some were actually could be persuaded after some time. Okay, so all right. So all that, according to Bruno Latour, lab animals, scientific texts, human researchers, experimental subjects, technologies, social movements, all those are actors on their own. Why are they called actors in science? Okay, it's not only the object, okay? The microbes is not only the microbes acting, showing you the truth about this world. It is also lab animals all collaborating, you know. So it is a conglomerate. It is a conglomerate of actors. Okay, okay, and then so he could turn the sheep farm into a laboratory, and he could only do that with the backing and cooperation of the farmers, the backing of the lawmakers, funding from industries, the government, the military, and the machines. Okay, the educated and the uneducated public and the press. Okay, he was being glorified by the press, so that really helped him. Okay, helped him to do his work. Next. Okay. Okay, this is, if probably everyone has seen this two-face of Janus. Okay. In philosophy, you will find this. Okay. On the left, okay, on the left of, on your left, okay, is ready-made science, science as written in the textbook. Okay. Their theories, okay. These are black boxes of science, okay, some things which you cannot change, all right? All right, so on the right is science in the making, okay? So let's also say on the left is nature, okay, as it is. On the right is how scientists interpret nature. Next slide. Okay, so nature is saying, okay, nature is screaming to the scientists, just get the facts straight. Okay, okay, understand me, interpret how I am, translate me into your textbooks. Okay, but for the constructivists, oh no, I have already said the word constructivists, okay? The scientists are saying whatever is useless, okay? Say non-activity of the peptidic structure, okay, non-activity of peptide, you just get rid of them, okay? I say, so can you see where we're going? Okay, now next. Okay, so nature is out there to which we can go to find its beauty, understand its beauty, and then find the laws of nature or facts, okay? So what we have in the next, okay, the next illustration, let's go and see. All right, okay, now, on the left is ready-made science, on the right is science in action. Okay, science in the making, sorry, science in the making. Okay, okay, you see it's written there. Let me enlarge it a bit. Okay, now. Okay, nature is the cause that allowed controversies to be settled. Do you understand this? As against on the right, nature will be the consequences of the settlement. Can you see the difference? Okay, on the left, nature is the one. As long once you have been able to identify nature, okay, then scientific disputes will stop. Okay, but science in the making, nature becomes the consequences or the end product of the dispute once there is a settlement of the dispute. Okay, so next, okay, down there, okay, once the machine works, okay, hang on, okay, okay, now, so once the machine works, people will be convinced, okay, say maybe there's instrument, okay, like, okay, probably in those days the aeroplane, once the aeroplane works, people will give money, for more and more aeroplanes to be built. Okay, now, and then science and technology is the cause that allow projects to be carried out. Okay, on the right, okay, let's go back to the machine will work, okay, if the relevant people are convinced, okay. Isn't that kind of political in nature? All right. And when projects are carried out, science and technology will appear as the driving force. Okay. Okay. Next now. Next slide. Thank you, Dr. Awani, for the comment. Okay, now. Okay. Nature will be. Okay, Dr. Awani has to leave for a meeting. Okay. Yes. I'll see you soon. All right. Bye. Okay. Now. So in the end, what science in the making is trying to show is that nature will be the consequences of that settlement. So nature is reviewed as the end product of a dispute. Okay, say there are two competing legs researching on the same thing. Whichever team wins, the result, that's nature. For example, Gilman won. Okay, remember Gilman and Scully story? Gilman won. So if Gilman had won, okay, and there were no negotiation until today, we will say that TRF is a non-peptide structure. Okay, so next slide. Okay, now, okay, this I just show you this because sociology of scientific knowledge, or SSK, is different from history of science. Okay, historians of science, okay, actually produce scientific facts. Look at scientific facts in retrospect. Okay, they backtrace events and then they read manuscripts, say lab records, and then to be able to understand the history that was involved, okay, the events that was involved in the making of a certain theory or whatever. So, but for science in action, for sociology of science, it is about science in action. It is about the making of science, and it holds by the strong program, impartiality especially, and it is empirical and objective. Okay, next slide. Okay, just to remind you guys, okay. Now, usually if people were to look at me when they see my face, they will say, I'm talking about ethics. I'm not. Okay, please put ethics aside. This is not about ethics. Okay, science occurs. There is an ethical code of conduct for the scientists, for the physiologists, for the biologists, and for the chemists. Okay. The norms are there, the codes are there, but it is this whatever is being told today from the angle of SSK is not about ethics. It is not about scientists manipulating the results. It's not about them being unethical. It's not about them being doing something bad like falsifying data. It's not that. Okay, it is about the negotiations that happen. Next slide. Okay. Oh, done. Okay, done. So it is about the negotiations that happen within the labs. Okay. So it is about the choices that scientists make. Okay. In the Gilman and Scully story, okay, they had to leave physiology and enter analytical chemistry to be able to make up the structure of the TRF. Okay. That involves a lot of brilliance, okay, in their thinking. And brilliance, yes, but also a lot of persuasion and negotiations, okay? The older scientists, for example, the older or more famous scientists may not want to budge, okay, if they do not do that, okay? And then of course there was a sense of respect. So, I mean, all this show that there is a lot of social connotations, okay, in the deliverance of a scientific fact, all right? And so scientists are not necessarily impartial. They are impartial, yes, during observations, yes, but it is not easy to be able to bring fact if they do not use their psychological minds, okay? If they also do not look at the problem from the social context, okay? So it is important to think that their actions, okay, the actions of Scully and all the scientists, okay, the actions of Pasteur, the actions of, say, even how Bulmer was looking at the cassowary, how he began to see that institutionalized knowledge is actually creating attention, okay? Okay, so because of that, we have to read SSK to be able to appreciate science. All right, the world as we know it from science. Okay, the question I asked, are we missing anything? So after listening from what we have discussed, have we missed anything? Have we missed anything? Okay. Okay. So we have not missed anything. Okay. We have not missed anything. We have to be thankful for what Pastor did, okay, for his strategies, for Scully being industrious enough to pursue his study, okay, for also chance, okay, for also chance to happen, okay. And so if not for the humans or the human actors, the scientists who are doing science, the world would be a different place today. Okay, we may not have benefited from science as much as we have today. Okay, so what do we do? What do we do? If we're scientists, what do we do? Okay, I know for one, okay, my friends who are scientists always pray that Allah, okay, will reveal the truth to them. Okay, they make doa just like the Prophet Muhammad actually made doa. Dear Allah, please show me truth as it really is. Okay, so so everyone can just pray for objectivity that what we're doing, okay, the truth will be revealed in the end. For all you know, okay, for all you know, not only the facts of nature can reveal itself once we once we pray, but actually we are getting help from all corners, okay? The whole machinery, whether it is social, political, and the technical, all that will work to our benefit. The machine will work once you pray, okay, if you want to pray. Because, okay, let me tell you this. When I was in Australia, okay, many philosophers of science, or SSK sociologists, okay, even the scientists, okay, they become non-believers because they could not find any relevance, okay, any relevance, but any relevance from the text because it could not be proved, for example. So, but then Malaysia is a place where people have religion, okay, so because of that, I mean, there's probably some truth, okay, some truth in being humble, okay, not being arrogant, and also to understand that we need the help of others, okay, we're not alone, we cannot work alone, we have to have collective support, politically, socially, okay. So next, okay, and so we come to our last slide, next slide, okay, nature as culture, okay, or science as culture. So can we call science as a culture now? Okay, now. Okay, let's not answer the question now. Okay, now let's take a look at a more recent and local issue. Okay, this is an issue that has been bugging everyone, I think. I'm sure everyone is getting so many WhatsApp messages regarding asking us to sign a petition to pressure the government to say, not pressure MOH, the Ministry of Health, to endorse ivermectin as a drug to treat COVID-19 infections, right? And everyone got that? Or maybe I'm the one getting it? Okay, now. So, okay, in response to those claims by this group, there were a group of NGOs, scientists who are claiming that the use of ivermectin could prevent all COVID-19 deaths, okay? So, a press release from the Ministry of Health shows that maybe you can open up in your phone to look up, okay? So, what the director of health is saying is that we need foolproof studies, okay? We need foolproof studies, okay, to be able to be certain that the ivermectin is safe and that it is it really. So, I mean, what they want to do is to enroll 500 COVID patients in 12 hospitals and to be able to use ivermectin to see if ivermectin works or not. All right, now. So they will have to conduct clinical trials themselves, all right? So, but the last line, okay? The last line of the press release by the Director of Health is very interesting, okay? He says this: science remains the best weapon against SARS-CoV-2 virus, okay? And not circumstantial hype, okay? So now we are back to science again. We're back to science, okay? We're left to science. So, but now scientists promoting ivermectin, okay, maybe what they should do is to be, I mean, they be competing with big pharmaceutical giants like AstraZeneca, Pfizer, and Moderna, okay. how are they going to fight, okay, these big pharmaceutical giants, okay? These, okay, these pharmaceutical, say, companies actually have the backing of governments all over the world. They have WHO, they have WHO as the supporters. So, so ivermectin will need to rethink. Okay, ivermectin crusaders will have to rethink their strategies. Okay, and not just by showing science experiment data, scientific information regarding ivermectin. All right, and with that, and this is the end of my talk today. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Siti, for a very interesting discussion in which she touched upon many issues from realism versus anti-realism in science, which goes back to the foundation of contemporary analytic philosophy, and the early philosophical debate in physics between Einstein and the Copenhagen group, to the social aspects of scientific practices, to the theory of cognition, especially on concept formation and the social structure of linguistic convention as known as baptism, and to the heated and even nasty debates in sociology of science between the liberal left and liberal non-left historians, sociologists, and philosophers of science. As a matter of fact, or even as a matter of historical fact, many scholars and philosophers were not really interested in STS during its formative years, since it is regarded as a fortress for the academic left, and more recently the postmodernists. So, and one of the most interesting polemic in this is the so-called Hawks in 1996. So maybe you can check it out. So still, you know, some philosophers and scientists don't really want to get involved in this polemic, and there are still more who are very, you know, very keen to, you know, to prolong the debate. So it's very interesting for Dr. Siti to, you know, to bring all these issues in one single presentation. So I would like now to open the floor, or you know, the hall, to the audience. If you have any observations or questions to share with us.
I have something. Okay, ka?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. All right, Dr. Siti, thank you so much. I've never had the opportunity to attend a sociology class that much when I was in school, so that was very interesting to, you know, be listening to. You know, I'm familiar with some of the terms, but as I was listening to you, I was thinking about, you know, I'm a very pragmatic person. I'm a pragmatic sort of person, because I'm sort of like an activist scientist in a way, and I guess for us, we have, our department has always been open in terms of, you know, critiquing, but also being reflective about what we do. Again, so I'm just wondering if you have any opinions about, you know, new fields like sustainability science, which is, you know, quite, you know, it is quite normative in a sense. It's transdisciplinary. It has to be participatory. And so all this issue of negotiation between science, humanities, you know, and also other forms of knowledge is actually, how do you call it, recognized. And people are thinking about how do we want to revive, or at least develop a scientific, a method that tries to combine science to be more, how do you call it, to incorporate these challenges. And also it's very missionary as well. So but kita kalau cakap pasal SDG, by 2030 we need to find a solution. And for climate change misalnya, we need to find a solution as soon as possible. So you have to be normative. So for example, kalau nak relate with, you know, your story about the peptide just now, we now say that, you know, carbon is the cause of climate change. We're going to work on that, and everything is actually all scientific research is based on the basis of carbon dioxide causing climate change. We don't have time to be that reflexive. So I'm just wondering whether SSK probably can provide, you can, you know, sort of new competencies in scientists, action-oriented scientists, that they need to acquire to be better scientists in terms of dealing with this very normative area. So I'm just wondering whether you have any ideas about that lah.
Okay, thanks very much, Dr. Zida, for that question. I sort of knew that you will ask that sort of question.
Yes, because I'm struggling with it also.
I know, I wanted to find something green, okay? I wanted to find something green to talk about, okay, from sociology angle, but I could not find any. I did not have time. I probably will have to, we will have to discuss later, but now, sustainability science is something very, very powerful. I know for me, like let's just let me talk about my thinking on this. Okay, now, it is, sustainability science is about, say, the scientists changing societies to conform to scientific facts about global warming, okay, carbon footprint, okay. Do you know that sustainability science is now very, very successful, okay? People are actually, if you go to restaurants, people are actually throwing plastic bottles into the green bin. Is it green? I'm not sure, is it green? Or, I mean, and then people know now, okay, the difference between the green bin, the brown bin, and the yellow bin, I think. Okay, now. So, you have to sort of, first of all, we look at the success, okay, of sustainability science. If people start acting in that way, okay, so you can consider the science as being successful already. Okay, now, let's talk about normative science, okay, now. Yes, at first when global warming or climate change started, when I first heard about, say, climate change and global warming, president or the deputy president Al Gore came. Okay, when Al Gore came, that was actually a really mistake for me. I think that was a big mistake on the part of the climate change scientists to actually have Al Gore there because he was a politician. Okay, now. So you have to be careful with who you call in to be to be here. But then, where Malaysia is concerned, we have a special ministry attributed to alam sekitar, okay, to environment. So I can see that the backing is there. The funding is also there. So I would see that sustainability science will be successful in the future, okay? And that sociologists of scientific knowledge will learn a lot by following action-oriented scientists, okay? Your action scientists, okay? By probably, I mean, if Latour can spend 2 years, why don't SSK scientists spend 2 years with the action scientists, action researchers, to actually look at what they're doing, okay, the works they're doing, and also what they can do simply is to look at the effects on society, which we can see, we read out, I think the press pick it out, and we can see that how things are progressing on sustainability. But for SSK, I think we can actually suggest SSK to also look into this issue. But if you were to read up, okay, there are many critics on climate change. There are many critics, okay? Of course, there are many critics by the philosophers, okay? It's like, is it true that the world is the ozone layer is getting thinner? Who measure it? Okay, what measurements? Okay, which labs is doing it? Okay, now you see again the question is which lab is doing it? Is it in Geneva? Okay, for example. So so there are elements of politics that you will have to combat. Okay, so not necessarily only looking at your own small research area, but also looking out. And okay, another thing, okay, in science itself, I think you can ask Dr. Duria, okay, Dr. Duria, I think she's here. Dr. Duria, she was the head of the, say, Institutional Animal Ethics Committee, okay. where there were the 3 R's. Okay, everyone knows 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle. All right. So this is the way to go. Okay. So once scientists follow this line, okay, scientists are able to demonstrate to others. Okay, we are actually conforming to sustainability philosophy by making sure that we use the least amount of samples. Again, we always refine our experiments and we always reuse. I don't know. Okay, that's just my naive take on that issue. Dr. Zida, you probably will be more okay in position to explain better. All right.
No,
Thanks.
thank you so much, Dr. Siti. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, any others? Yes, please, Prof. Muhammad Nolong.
Yes, sir.
Or we may proceed with Dr. Cik Wan or Dr. Wong Chan Yuan, is it?
Oh, hello, Dr. Wan. Dr. Wong from Taiwan. Hello.
Hello,
Yes, hello.
can you hear me?
Yes, can hear but cannot see your face.
Hold on. Yeah, hi everyone. This is Wong. Good to
Hello, Wong.
hello. Yeah. I can't. Oh wait. What happened to my camera?
Yeah, we miss you. All right, there he is.
Hi.
You haven't changed. All right.
Yeah, I'm getting fat. Yeah, because of this restrictions, pandemic. Yeah, sitting at home, doing lecture at home. So yeah, getting fat. So Dr. Siti, glad for the presentation. I came in late, so I may not catch the full lecture entirely. So, but nonetheless, you did mention the part on Louis Pasteur on how Louis Pasteur contribute to the society. Okay, so I'm asking from the aspect of policy, aspect of HR, okay, in the university. Okay, so if Louis Pasteur can contribute, should there is a policy thinking about more Louis Pasteur type of scientists in the university, so that people like Louis Pasteur can populate, with different research results that could benefit, or solve problems in the society. Okay, Louis Pasteur type of scientists be promoted in the sense like there will be more scholarships, encouraging more young people to take up the role, what being taken by Louis Pasteur, and then build agenda that eventually, that could be ready in the time of, for example, like pandemic, they are actually can be deployed and find a solution, building vaccine, eventually try to help even more to talk about, creating vaccine or developing vaccine, but perhaps thinking about how to control the outbreak, as well as helping others or helping scientists to build some shield, okay, shielding populations from being infected from this crisis. Yeah, what is your view about that? Thank you very much.
All right. You began by asking initially regarding policy. Okay, policy for scientists for within university, the institution, the university. Okay, how can they like Pasteur like strategy? Okay, Pasteur Machiavellian kind of strategy. All right. All right. Like I told you so in the lecture that there were a lot of hits and misses anyway. Pasteur was not successful all the way, but what we hear is just a successful aspect of his story. All right. And then until today, we will remember Pasteur forever because we drink pasteurized milk, and we know his contribution to microbes. You must there was a strategy he took actually. He actually when he discovered the microbes, that's one thing. That was one discovery. But he wanted to do something bigger. Not only have the microbes recorded in taxonomic system, but also how can he benefit the public, by using the microbes to the public advantage. Same thing like in medicine. Medicine is not about creating, inventing new drugs, but it is also about saving human lives. So I think scientists, in the end, I mean, this is something which we are always saying. There must be some sort of CSR element, in all our works in all our works in university research, everything. So whatever we do, alright, say Dr. Niza is doing something on nanotechnology, for example. Yeah, we know nanotechnology. I do not know much about nanotechnology, but I know it's t-shirts. T-shirts is nanotechnology, but we definitely will know that nanotechnology is the latest science, that actually benefits, people. I can see actually every day the nature, can I call it nature, is actually making things easier and easier for us. Nature is actually revealing itself more and more and more to our benefit. All right. So that is if we let things move naturally, as we go. But policies, we have now to have like supportive policies, within the university network, the management themselves, must not be, too techy about how you write your proposals, there will be, of course, there are support groups, who will help, researchers to write the proposal, successful proposal, because there's a lot of politics there. Because the way I hear it, the same scientists will get big grants all the time, and then if I'm a small time scientist, if I want grants, I have to be jumping on the wagon with that big time scientist. So that's not the way to go. In the end, there are a lot of scientific knowledge left for us not discovered. So this is something for Science and Technology Studies Department, to put across to the government, to the management at least. Actually, STS has got a very big role to play, and then probably we do not have the stamina. And we do not have enough backing, but probably we do. And but it's all down to we have to do work, as in the likes of Pasteur, by doing something rebellious, by being bold, even have some kind of arrogance to show. Be bold. Don't be timid or meek, you'll never be successful. That's what I think. The last part of your question, I missed it again. That was towards the end.
About the HR, should human resource, should scientists be more like Pasteur, so that they were thinking about applications, not just about theory, not just about writing about papers,
Right.
but should
Yes,
think
yes.
about
True.
impact to the society. Yeah.
All right. So today, there is there's a guideline on how to write research proposals. For example, there must be some benefit. Human benefit. It must be there. So it's good. Besides, it must have some ethical content. There is also must be some community benefit. How can it benefit the community? I remember Dr. Tiru always talking about this, that research must have some say a community interest. Communities, they are the stakeholders, but you forgot about them. They may be your research subjects, but do they get the benefits of the research in the end? But and then I remember you talking about like COVID-19. Surely there's for now COVID-19 is something very, very new. That's why you can't blame the Ministry of Health for hits and misses, because they are learning something new. In fact, they admit every time this is something new, and after the first MCO, they know this is the way to go. It took some time, even us, it took some time for us to be to adapt ourselves to this new norm, and then today, if we see somebody not doing social distancing, we'll be some alien somewhere. It took some time for us to conform to those sort of habits. So in the same way, scientists have got to change their habit. change the work structure, change the thinking, and probably now what I said just now, even wrong data, yes, giving back to the society is part of the KPI. Okay, we have that in our policy. Okay, in the university policy. So even now scientists must be beware. Okay, this is something which I have problem. Okay, for example, in science labs, okay, Form 4, Form 5 science labs, okay, the teacher always have got a value in the end. Okay, value for some experimental works that he asked the students to do, and then many students will miss. Okay, so if the student miss the value, the lecturer will say, you have banana fingers, you're not being careful, this and that. But could it be that the student itself, the non-successful experiment, was actually chancing upon a new discovery? I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. All right. Thank you, Dr. Wan. I hope I have answered most of your question. Thank you.
All right. Now, Prof. Muhammad Nolong.
Since we are my friends, my younger student has come to join me. Say hi. Say hi. Okay, now. Okay, all right.
Okay, now we proceed with Dr. Chet Wan.
Oh, Dr. Chet Wan has just opened a different gadget.
Very nice talk. I think it's a
Dr. Chet Wan,
I'm in your class.
Dr. Chet Wan, kami tak dengar.
Tak ada apa-apa.
Okay, alright.
Thank you, Dr. Chet
Assalamualaikum.
Wan. Waalaikumsalam.
Okay.
Assalamualaikum, Dr.
Waalaikumsalam.
Siti, and also all members of the floor. Okay, I just want to ask very simple questions. Okay, but first of all, thanks to Siti for the interesting presentation. I believe many here, okay, especially the former student of yours, okay, miss your lecture daily, okay, including me as well, right? Okay, yeah, all right. So for your information, we will be offering sociology of science, okay, as a compulsory standalone course, okay, in the new curriculum of our master program starting next session. Okay, so all right, so just just for a sharing session, right? So as an expertise, okay, in the field, all right, so sociology of science, okay, so based on your experience, okay, do you think that students need to take and understand the philosophy of science as a prerequisite before they can study the sociology of science? And also, and also how to ensure that this course able to enlighten science graduates, especially in the field, perhaps some topics to be highlighted. Siti?
Yes, right. Okay, thanks, Dr. Salim, for that question. I always believe that pure science majors, okay, pure science majors must take philosophy of science, must take history of science, and must take sociology of knowledge, scientific knowledge, must take SSK. And I'm happy that the Faculty of Science in Universiti Malaya, I do not know how is it like in USM or other universities. I know UKM, for example, that philosophy science is actually a compulsory course that needs to be taken by science undergraduates, okay? Yeah, but the way this course is being presented has got a lot to be improved actually. So it has to be presented in a way that is interesting. Okay, philosophy of science, we know that our guru is Professor Hazim. Okay, in fact, I actually was a student of his once. Okay, now. So some students probably, okay, because it is like learning arts, okay? It is like learning arts and humanities for the science students. So if our lecturers can make the style of presenting more interesting, okay, by giving real examples. Okay, I think so. That's the way to go for philosophy of science. History of science, yeah. Well, if we recall, a lot of success stories, a lot of famous scientists are there, okay, written in the history of science. Okay, so because students actually idolize okay, figures, okay, say historic figures, okay, say like Pasteur and then say Ibn Sina, okay. It's good that more and more stories of these great scientists are given all the time, okay, because this is a strategy to take, because we want in ourselves to find Nobel Prize winners one day. We want Malaysian Nobel Prize winners, so we have to actually to study how other countries, even Egypt, how their scientists has actually been able to be successful in getting Nobel Prize. Okay, this is a work for the SSK scientists. Okay, SSK researchers, right? Probably Dr. Salim, one day you may want to become an SSK researcher. So maybe what you can do is go and see how Nobel Prize scientists actually won the prize, how their life and their family, their education, the whole history. Okay, a biography of the scientists, maybe. Okay, not biography style, but academic style, and have it written in journals of SSK. Okay, now, okay, you asked the question also whether philosophy of science, history of science ought to be prerequisite before taking SSK. Yes, they have to. They have to have this background regarding what is realism, what is relativism, what is positivism, and what is all that before they can understand and appreciate SSK. Okay, as it is. That's what I think. Okay, but probably, but yeah, I think there's no other way to go, because probably in the Western world, because I also learned that in the Western world. So that's the way to go. So usually level 1 is philosophy of science and history, and then SSK probably level 2. But there must be prerequisite, Dr. Salim. I believe there must be. I don't know about that. I think Mr. Chairman, I think he's in more of a better position to answer this question rather than me. Thanks. I hope you're okay with that answer, Dr. Salim.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. I think Dr. Masarah will teach sociology of science, I think.
Dr. Masarah is the best person.
Mana Dr. Masarah?
Yeah, and Dr. Zufri, right? Our philosophers there, Dr. Masarah, Dr. Zufri. Dr. Chewan is also a philosopher, but she turned to a food scientist. Okay. What happened to our philosophers? There's only 2 of you left. Can we, yeah, Dr. Ng is here. Dr. Ng, can you open up some more tenure, okay? Maybe positions for philosophers of science. But, okay, but at the same time, I mean, all this, we have to be asking our stakeholders, which are employers, okay, whether they need, okay, philosophy of science. But I'm sure, okay, if you, in the corporate world, there'll be some philosophy regarding. So understanding what philosophy means is important. And if you're a philosopher, if you read philosophy of science, okay, that will make you a better person than a scientist who do not read philosophy of science. That's my thinking on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Siti. I think it's a wonderful sharing session today. So actually, just to continue from the question from Dr. Salim, about but this time I'm more focused. Maybe we more focused on the SSK. Okay. I think a lot of our students here, they will ask the questions like, what are the career prospects? If we are really mastering or pursue into the area of SSK. So do you have any advice to both maybe the undergraduate or master student, what kind of career prospect if they are in this area, and how they can position themselves to convince maybe the potential employer if they are good in in the learning of sociology of scientific knowledge.
Okay, all right. Thank you. It's very nice to see you, Doctor, and thank you for having me here. Okay. Okay. To that question. Okay. What is the career prospect? Just like what is the career prospect for STS? What is the career prospect for biohealth? What is the career prospect for geology? Say biological sciences, say biomedical science, and things like that. Because the first thing I think students should be thinking about getting knowledge, okay, being wiser. Because coming into university is about okay, why do you come to university? Many students will say, I want the paper, I want the degree, okay, I want a good job, okay. But if you must know, okay, STS actually broadens up the student's mind. There's a lot of critical thinking element in SSK or even STS subjects, okay. So there's a lot of reading. If we were to, students have got to become good readers, then they become wiser. Because I believe the hallmark of a successful person in the government industry or even in the corporate industry, it must be someone who can think, okay. Okay, you come to university to be able to think correctly. Okay, so of course we have to write down. We can say, okay, can be journalists, okay, can be science journalists, okay. They can become educators. They can also be policymakers or science advisors, okay. I think if you list down of those prospects, there'll be many. Okay. So they can also become teachers of science. But okay, and then you have also to tell them that employment is not easy because employers always look out for soft skills. So when they say soft skills, all employers will look for soft skills. It is not the knowledge content. Because when I was heading Chitra, for example, okay, the industries actually look for skills, okay, thinking skills, critical thinking skills, okay, speaking skills, decision making. So STS, just like any other subject, any other degree program in the Faculty of Science, are actually making students become critical thinkers, decision makers. So regardless of, we cannot say that to the student. We want our students to come into STS, but STS has got something because we are outside. We are not inside the house. We are looking from outside the house. So that gives students of SSK or STS a bigger picture of the workings of the world. They be more critical in their thinking, and essentially corporate people want someone like that. Okay, that's what I think. I hope that's okay.
Thank you very much, Dr. Siti. I think Dr. Amran want to ask something just now.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Ng. So first of all, thank you very much, Dr. Siti, for your, I think, kind of refresher, yeah, for some of us here, yeah. We left the discipline, the department for few years now, but now at least I listen to many of you now. Yeah, good. Still to listen to all of you. I think what Dr. Siti said is important. Science is basically a negotiation. I think that the key word, yeah, that Dr. Siti took from Latour, Volga. It's negotiation, yeah. So there is no kind of fixed thing, yeah. It's like always in the making, same in the making. Yeah, I think it's important. And by now we already know that science is not only value laden but also interest laden. Yeah? Interest laden by now. Yeah. So it's a lot of dialogue, debate, insight, even in the subject matter itself, in the subject matters.
Yeah.
And it's the same like religion also. There is no something fixed in religion. That means what I can say, actually we can say actually science, it's like religion, is very political. It's very political actually. Yeah. But doesn't mean it become anarchy or relativist. No, there's some kind of middle position. Yeah. The thing is, I think that the important contribution that STS is given to the academic world, to the people. Yeah, because before this, people think science is like universal, very objective, and very kind of neutral. But it's not the case. We know by now. So I think this is the importance of our field. Yeah, yes. And I think the important thing from our discipline is that we must be very critical. I think this is what we want to convey to the student. Yeah,
Yes. Right.
the importance of STS is that we are able to become critical, become evaluative, yeah, become independent. Yeah, it's lacking in even in religious study and even the science proper. So this is the spirit that STS want to inculcate to the student. Yeah, it is very very important competence of skill. Yeah, not many people are critical today, and we see the effect of not critical. Then we have problem in many aspects of our life. And I think that's still what I mean the relevant of our field. Yeah, and I notice we still are demarcating between philosophy of science, history of sociology. I think STS is just a culmination of all these things. Yeah.
Right.
So we must talk as unity. So when we talk STS, inside it, say the philosophy component, history component, sociology or SSK component, the policy component, the politic component. So as STS people, I don't think we should demarcate or try to segregate ourselves. Yeah, we should have some component of the expertise in all this area, from philosophy to history to management to policy. That doesn't mean we don't have specialization. Yeah, because this is what STS is all about. It's about being critical to the scientific enterprise itself. And by now, actually, science is under pressure. You know, the rise of anti-science movement, anti-vaccination, flat Earth movement. So no scientist can say, oh, they are in a good position. Yeah. So actually, in the West, by now, with the rise of this postmodern, yeah, in philosophy, you know, this postmodern, this post-truth, people like Trump. So science actually is under pressure. They have to show themselves, and they're not getting less funding. So a lot of things. In fact, our field can be a vehicle to tell the policymaker we need more science, we need more rationality in our society. Yeah. So I think it's good for us to become more kind of Unitarian, yeah, rather than segregating ourselves. Yeah? Like Masara want to be philosopher, Dr. Ng want to become the policymaker. I think it's whether we need to build a kind of Unitarian approach to science. Yeah? And just to maybe to point what Dr. Zida said just now, I think we have to take things in kind of evolutionary matter, yeah, because now people are talking about sustainability, yeah, become like a about thing,
Religion.
SDG, become a new kind of new
Religion.
vision, yeah. But we know this sustainability thing come from ecology. Earlier on, they say about environment, so they evolve. The term is evolve, yeah. From just a small thing, they become like big thing. But I think the attitude of people are still the same. Yeah, if the sustainability just a matter of what I call maybe last time they say environmental washing, like greenwashing. Yeah, but sustainability is still a kind of washing thing. Yeah, because the big corporation, the capitalists, the big money are still running around. Yeah. And how about the philosophy of sustainability? They are still, it's like a very kind of commercial, just to make the business have a more friendly business. Oh, they are serious about changing the perception toward nature. Yeah. And for this, maybe there is now a new philosophy of nature who said that as long as man perceive they as kind of in opposition with nature, we cannot do anything. So a kind of men now should be feel they are part of nature, or kind of they should be humble to the nature, for example. This become the general new attitude of the sustainability people. Or they still will decide anything about nature. Yeah, this I think my comment. And this in this thing we are still practical. Is it? We are not so philosophical. Yeah. So that basically my comment. Thank you, Dr. Siti, for your nice presentation. Yeah. And thank you, Dr. Anam, for inviting me.
Thank you, Dr. Amran. Yes, in the end, you will say that we have to be humble. Okay, we have to have humility in accepting knowledge from others, not only our own. Okay, so even Francis Bacon himself said this. You know, Francis, I was surprised to find that it is Francis Bacon who said that if Muhammad cannot come to the mountain must come to Muhammad. What does that mean? Okay, it essentially means that we have to be humble. We have to approach. We have to be humble all the time, at all times, to be able to get across. Okay, to be able to pursue our aims. Okay, that's essentially it lah. Okay, regarding coming back again to Dr. Maisara's course on sociology or scientific knowledge. Now, this is a standalone course. Okay, I forgot. This was a standalone course when I was teaching sociology or scientific knowledge. It was a part of a course. It was a third of one course. Okay, now that Dr. Maisara is going to teach that as a standalone course, probably you can first incorporate, give students some introductory philosophy of science and also history of science, and then start talking about SSK. Okay, so that students will have those concepts. They can grasp those concepts before they go into SSK. But even so, okay, when it comes sometimes the way I learn things, I backtrack. Okay, I backtrack. I do SSK and I backtrack when I see a term like realism, relativism. I backtrack and then in philosophy or history of science or SSK, we have to be reading and rereading articles again to be able to grasp the real meaning. I find that say 10 years ago, the way I read those articles, okay, actually I have those words from, I have those course notes from 1993. Okay, 1993. So this is to 2021. The way I look and read these materials now is different from the way I was. I was immature then, I was immature. So now I'm more mature now. I see things better now than before, than say more than 10 years ago. Okay, so it's a learning process, Dr. Zida, it's a learning process, Dr. Zida, Dr. Maisara, okay, and Dr. Ng, and everyone, Dr. Salim. So as we go along, we will get better and better, okay? And of course, wisdom comes from reading and reading. We cannot deny that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Dr. Siti, for your advice. So you give me an idea how I will conduct the courses, okay? And then you give me some idea how I want to relate with the student, okay, current student, their expectations and so on. And the most important point is that, yeah, I hope that I can learn through teaching. Okay, so thank you, Dr. Siti.
Yes, Dr. Maisara, you have to remember what Dr. Amran just said. We have to make it encompassing. Okay, we do not compartmentalize. This is SSK. Okay, students go to classes SSK and forget about it. Okay, they cannot apply SSK to the next subject on policy and management of SNT or innovation system. They should be able to apply that. I mean, then the beauty of the whole STS program will be appreciated more. Okay, so it takes a lot of ingenuity, but you all are designers of the course. I think the course structure, I'm sure you also will have that philosophy. In the end, student will have knowledge which encompasses all these different compartments, the political, the historical, the sociological, and STS can do that. Even the science, maybe basic science course cannot do that, but STS can do that, I believe.
Okay, thank you, insyaAllah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Siti. So I think that's all for today. Well, our next series will be in September. So we'll bring to you, some other distinguished scholars in the field in the next semester. So that's all for today. Thank you very much.
Dr. Anam.
Thank you, everyone.
They want to take a picture, right?
Yes.
I just want to highlight here that just for your information, Dr. Siti, that we in our new curriculum we have one subject on sociology science.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah lah, insyaAllah.
Yes, that's great. Everybody show yourself. Come on.
All right.
Dr. Aisha, can you do the job of taking the picture? I think you are very best at that.
Okay. Dr. Aisha, okay.
Share
Share that with me.
satu gambar RM10. Sekejap, but okay, there are 26 dalam meeting ni, but there's only berapa I boleh dapat kat screen ni lah. Is it okay?
Yes, okay. Dr. Aniza, we can see your face. Dr. Maisara.
Apa lagi? Kak Costa.
Ini Profesor tolong please show your face.
Suhaila pun ada. Suhaila.